Throughout the long history of professional bowling, many have argued who is the greatest of all time. Well, there's many answers, and I think I've summed it down to the top 10 greatest bowlers of all time fairly accurately. I'll be defending each answer as I go along, so feel free to follow along and drop your top 10 in the comment section below. Alright, let's get into it. But first, I'm gonna have to ask you to subscribe. I'm sorry, I know I hate asking, but yeah, we gotta do it. Anyways, onto the video. Coming in at the number 10 spot, the one and only Tommy Jones. He burst on the scene with a powerful game that helped usher in a new generation of athletes on the lane, and with over 20 PBA titles including a Player of the Year honor, Jones has showed that you can mix power with precision. His explosiveness on the back end, virtually unmatched at his peak. Tommy represents a bridge between the classical game and the modern power era. He's not just a great, he's a game changer. He did a lot for the sport while he was active and winning, and although he hasn't made it onto the show and won in a little bit, he's still been an interesting personality to watch and keep in mind. So he fits pretty snugly in the number 10 spot, not really ahead of anyone, not really behind anyone. And coming in at the number 9 position, we have Parker Bone III. An elegant lefty with one of the smoothest games the sport has ever seen, boasting 30 PBA Tour titles, multiple Player of the Year honors, and a global ambassador for the sport. Parker crossed the generational gap left by the one-handers into two-handers. He also dominated in the older era, which a lot of people consider harder, I consider easier, but no matter which way you swing, he's been great in all eras. Not only that, but his kids show promise as well, so maybe we'll see Brandon Bone or Sydney Bone become famous on the PBWA tours or the PBA tour in the future. But don't leave out Justin Bone because he's just as good as the others. And I think due to all of these factors, including his upcoming kids, I think his legacy is just unmatched. There's not really much to say, he's just one of the greatest the sport has ever seen, and I think the others will make clear why he's at number 9 and not number 1. Now we've got one of the founding fathers of the sport, Dick Weber. Father to Pete Weber, one of the greatest bowlers of all time, who's also on this list. Dick Weber throughout his career managed to gain a whopping 30 PBA Tour titles in an era where bowling on TV was incredibly popular. His classic style, sportsmanship, and influence on the sport just changed eras. And without Dick Weber in the history books, I feel like the sport would be completely different, if not a lot less famous in that era. And coming in at number 7, we have one of the most influential bowlers of all time, Mark Roth, the godfather of power bowling. Before Belmont, before EJ, there was Roth, cranking revs in a world of strokers. He not only changed the look of the game, but also turned bowling into a high-impact sport. With 34 titles and 4 Player of the Year awards, the man forced the tour to adapt to him. Mark didn't just play the game, he completely rewrote it. He is such a big Hall of Fame legend that he has a pattern that is routinely used. Mark Roth's legacy is captured with the doubles event, the Roth-Holman doubles event, which normally appears sometime around the WSOB, but in this year it was combined with the Illinois Classic. The event features dual oil patterns, one player plays on the left, one player plays on the right, and the score is combined. So each player bowls 5 frames, 5 on the left, 5 on the right. This unique legacy that he has left transcends generations yet again. Just the impact he has had, including his oil patterns, including the event, and just overall what he's done for the game has just completely changed the sport. And that's why he sits at number 7. And now here's where we get to an absolute hot take. Number 6, EJ Tackett. I would argue that out of everyone on this list, this guy is going to end up way closer to number 1 in a few years than we all think. After all, we all saw the rise at Belmont, but we didn't expect it. And with EJ on a similar trajectory, unwilling to waver and just winning titles, we're probably going to see a lot more of him on TV than we probably want to. And that isn't really a bad thing. I feel like we're just gonna keep seeing him, he's gonna keep improving, and he's gonna be even closer to the GOAT status than we all imagine. So while he may sit at number 6 right now with his incredibly powerful style and great sportsmanship, his impact is somewhat limited right now, but considering he already has the 7th most amount of titles, and he's still fairly young, there's still a chance he clears the top 3 on a shorter tour than all of those guys had. And now we reach the heavy hitters. Number 5, Earl Anthony. The definition of dominance. Earl was the first to reach 40 PBA Tour titles, and he did it all with that smooth lefty stroke. Earl wasn't flashy, but he was surgical. He was the first superstar of televised bowling, and he made it look easy. 6 Player of the Year awards, and that's not an accident. That's just a pure legacy. And now I feel like this one is probably going to get me a lot of complaints in the comment section, but number 4, Pete Weber. Pete is the son of Dick Weber, and clearly he's left a legacy. Whether you consider that good or bad, I'll let you do the research. But regardless of what you think of him, he's a 37-time PBA Tour champion with 10 majors and more attitude than anyone else in the game. He brought the fire, the flash, and his iconic moments of rage, such as the 2012 US Open win. Pete was electric and backed it up every time he stepped on the approach. And now at number 3, I feel like this one's a little less controversial. We have Jason Belmonte. Jason is the first and only international player on this list, as he has so much dominance, it is crazy. However, if this list was made a few years ago with the expectation that he kept winning after 2020, he would probably be sitting at number 1. However, if you've looked at his singles record recently, he's been making the shows, but he just hasn't won in quite a while. His most recent title was the 2025 Roth doubles, but the last time he won singles was on the 2023 PBA Tournament of Champions. And I think Belmo is impossible to ignore. He introduced two-hand into the sport and he kept it alive. Sure, there were some that came before him, such as Oscar Palermo, but they didn't quite have the impact that Jason did. All things considered, I think Jason Belmonte is one of the greatest of all time, and whether you have him at 3, 2, or 1, his impact is impossible to ignore. But you'll see why he's only at number 3 in just a second. Number 2, Walter Ray Williams Jr. For 99% of the bowling community, they have him as number 1, but he's number 2. So who's number 1? Well, I'll let you figure that out on yourself, or you can figure it out when I tell you in a few minutes. But my case for Walter Ray Williams Jr. being second is he's just incredibly dominant. He has way too many wins to ignore. His style was unorthodox at the time, however it worked, similar to how Jason brought two-handed. He's the all-time PBA leader in titles, 47, and a master at the straight game, the spare game, and hooking the whole lane. And not only that, he was consistent for decades upon end. You don't rack up that many titles without owning each era. I think if Belmo bowled every single event, and he had the longer tour like they did back in the 90s, he probably would be ahead of him in titles by now. However, you must consider everything, so I think Walter Ray Williams Jr. is better just because of Jason Belmonte's dry streak. But now we have number 1, the undisputed GOAT in my opinion, Norm Duke. Why? Because Norm did it all. He won in the urethane era, the resin era, against strokers, against crankers, and even the two-handers. He won multiple majors, he won at 18 and 50, and he also did it with class. Norm wasn't just great, he was versatile. He played the entire lane like it was his playground. And through it all, he stayed humble, passionate, and fierce. Norm is a total package, and that's why he's the greatest bowler of all time. Not only that, he has left an incredible legacy for all he's done for the sport. He's hosted tournaments, shown up to pro-ams, and has been generally one of the nicest bowlers I have ever met. And I think overall, his legacy is just far too big to ignore. He's so much better in my book than Walter Ray or Belmo just because of his impact, and everyone respects Norm, everyone loves Norm. While he may be third in titles, he has some of the best games we've ever seen, and he's just one of the best bowlers, period. I don't think there's any argument against him being top 3, and for those reasons, he is the GOAT. So what did you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below, and leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more. But that's all I've got time for today, so see you guys next time.